I waited for Ethan at City Hall for an hour. What I received instead was a text message from Ethan: Chloe is expecting, and I need to take care of her. Let's talk about getting married after she gives birth. Immediately after, Ethan's childhood sweetheart, Chloe, sent me a pregnancy test results, with the caption, "Thanks, Grace, for making this happen." I stared at my phone and laughed. Making this happen? Fine by me. I quickly dialed Ethan's arch-rival, Marcus, getting married. Are you in? At City Hall, I looked down at my wristwatch. 20 minutes had already passed since our agreed-upon time to get married. Ms. Grace, has Mr. Ethan not arrived yet? The staff member asked for the third time, sympathy in her eyes. I tugged at the corner of my mouth, forcing a professional smile. Just a little longer. My phone vibrated. It was Ethan calling. I breathed a sigh of relief and swiped to answer. Where are you? Grace, Chloe suddenly felt unwell. I'm with her at the hospital for checkups right now. Ethan's voice was clearly anxious. Getting married might have to be postponed. I gripped my phone, my nails almost digging into my palm. Today was the day we agreed upon. I know, but Chloe, Ethan's words were abruptly cut off. A delicate female voice came from the other end of the line. Ethan, the doctor said I'm pregnant. My blood instantly froze. Grace, did you hear that? Chloe is expecting. I need to take care of her. Ethan's voice suddenly grew excited, as if he'd forgotten his fiancée was still on the phone. Congratulations, I said coldly, then hung up. Less than 3 minutes later, my phone buzzed frantically. Chloe sent a string of photos, the pregnancy test results, her and Ethan embracing in a hospital corridor, a close-up of their intertwined hands. The last photo made my pupils shrink. It was Chloe lying on my bed, with Ethan leaning over to kiss her forehead. My photo together with Ethan was still hanging on the background wall, making it truly ironic. The caption, "Thanks, Grace, for making this happen. True love wins out in the end." I scoffed and opened Twitter. Sure enough, Chloe had already posted an update. In the photo, she was nestled in Ethan's arms, with the caption, "We were always meant to be." The comment section was filled with blessings. Ethan's messages immediately bombarded me. Grace, Chloe is expecting. I need to take care of her. I drank too much at the wrap party that night, but the child is innocent. She originally wanted to hide it from me and raise the child alone, but she's still so young and destined to be a best. I can't ruin her future. I stared at the messages impassively until the last one completely ignited my fury. Grace, don't worry. This child will be born and raised by you, so you won't have to suffer the pain of childbirth, and this child will only ever recognize you as their mother. I laughed out loud in anger. What was this? A handout? Did he really think I couldn't live without him? Seeing I didn't reply, Ethan added another message. Can we rearrange getting married after Chloe gives birth? I stared at my phone screen, laughing until tears welled up. Seriously? This was a strategic alliance, you know. Who would wait for you? I directly dialed the number at the very bottom of my contacts. The call was answered quickly. Marcus, I addressed him by name, getting married. Are you coming? Silence stretched for 2 seconds on the other end, then a deep, smiling voice replied, City Hall, 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, a black Maybach pulled up in front of City Hall. The car door opened, and a pair of long legs stepped out. Marcus, dressed in a simple white shirt and black suit pants, managed to exude the aura of a runway model. He walked up to me, a playful smirk on his lips. Ms. Grace, what kind of shock made you suddenly remember me? I looked him straight in the eye. Ethan's idealized first love is pregnant. He stood me up today to take care of her. Marcus raised an eyebrow. And? So, I pulled the documents for the marriage license from my bag. I'm getting married today. Anyone will do, as long as it's not Ethan. Marcus chuckled, reaching out to take my documents for the marriage license. My pleasure. The process of getting married was incredibly fast. The moment the official seal came down, Marcus and my relationship transformed from arch-rivals to legally married couple. As we walked out of City Hall, Marcus suddenly put his arm around my waist and whispered in my ear, now that we're married, shouldn't we do some things a couple is supposed to do? I was about to push him away when I saw Ethan's hurried figure approaching in the distance. Grace! Ethan ran up, panting. Chloe's situation is stable. I thought about it and decided I should still come and get married with you first. His gaze fell on our clasped hands, and his face changed drastically. You too. Marcus held up the freshly issued marriage certificate, smiling broadly. I'm sorry, Ms. Grace is my Mrs. Marcus now. Ethan's expression was as if he'd been hit over the head. Grace, what are you doing? Didn't I say that after Chloe gives birth, we would, Ethan, I cut him off. Did you forget? Ours was merely a strategic alliance. But, no buts. I sneered. Did you think I'd wait for you to have a child with another woman? And then raise it for you? Where do you get that confidence? Ethan's face turned ashen. Are you taking revenge on me? Just because I'm taking care of pregnant Chloe? Grace, when did you become so petty? I was almost laughing in exasperation at his logic. Yes, I'm petty. So, I wish you and your pure and lovely idealized first love a long and happy marriage. With that, I linked my arm through Marcus. Husband, let's go home. Marcus cooperated, leaning down to peck my lips. As my Mrs. Marcus wishes. Ethan stood frozen, his face cycling between green and white. I got into Marcus's car without a backward glance, finally unable to hold back a burst of laughter. Feel better? Marcus started the car, glancing at me. Absolutely thrilling, I leaned back in the seat. Thanks for playing along. Marcus chuckled. You're welcome. After all, anything that annoys Ethan, I'm happy to do. I turned my head to him. So, our marriage. A mutually beneficial arrangement, Marcus interrupted me. You need to slap Ethan in the face, and I need a shield to fend off my family's pressuring me to get married. Partnership agreed? I extended my hand. Partnership agreed. Marcus took my hand but didn't immediately let go. His thumb gently stroked the back of my hand, sending a subtle jolt through me. However, he said in a low voice, since we're acting, we should go all out. Are you ready, Mrs. Marcus? My heart skipped a beat. What do you mean? Marcus curved his lips into a smile. It means, starting today, we're going to live like a loving couple. That night, #Grace and Marcus married and #Ethan and Chloe expecting #both went trending online. I sat on the sofa in Marcus's apartment, scrolling through the comments on my phone. OMG, what a twist. Wasn't Grace supposed to get married to Ethan today? Heard stood her up to be with pregnant Chloe, so Grace just went and married Marcus. Go, Grace. Did that manipulative sweet talker Chloe finally get her way? Ugh, am I the only one who thinks Marcus is way hotter than Ethan? Grace totally got the better deal. Marcus walked over with 2 glasses of red wine, handing one to me. What are you so engrossed in? I turned my phone to him. Our wedding photo is trending online. Marcus leaned closer to look. The faint woody scent from his body drifted into my nostrils, making me feel a little uneasy. Nice shot, he commented, then pulled out his own phone and snapped a photo of the 2 of us. What are you doing? I asked warily. Marcus looked down at his phone. Posting it on Twitter. Since we're married, we should make it official, Rig. HT? A few seconds later, his Twitter updated, our photo together, with the caption my Marcus, followed by a red heart emoji. My phone immediately exploded with countless incoming messages. Ethan's call also came in, but I directly rejected it. Not answering? Marcus raised an eyebrow. No need. I took a sip of red wine. He just wants to question why I moved on so quickly. Marcus chuckled. He probably thinks you're jealous, doesn't he? Given's level of narcissism, it's highly likely. I rolled my eyes. Just then, Chloe's Twitter updated. She posted an ultrasound photo, captioned the joy of new life, and specifically tagged Ethan and me. The comment section immediately blew up. Is she trying to provoke Grace? The mistress is so brazen after getting her way? Grace is already married to Marcus, who cares about Ethan anymore? I scoffed, retweeted Chloe's post, and added the text, congratulations. Remember to have your Mr. Ethan pay child support on time. After all, a child can't be without a father. Red heart after posting, I turned off my phone and raised my glass to Marcus. To my escape from this misery. Marcus clinked his glass against mine. To me marrying a clever wife. We exchanged smiles and drained our glasses. A week later, I joined the cast of my new movie, Glimmer in the Night, and was surprised to find Marcus was the male lead. You didn't tell me you'd be in it. I frowned at Marcus in the dressing room, where he had just finished his styling. He was wearing a vintage suit, his hair styled like a dashing gentleman from the Republic era, looking so handsome it was hard to look away. Surprise, Marcus walked closer, resting one hand on my vanity table, leaning down to whisper in my ear, besides, isn't a married couple co-starring more buzzworthy? His breath on my ear made my heart race. I tried to keep my composure. This is an art film, it doesn't need hype. Who said I wanted to hype it? Marcus chuckled. I'm here to act seriously. And by the way, to keep my new wife company. Ours is just an agreement, I reminded him. The agreement didn't say we couldn't make our act real. Marcus's fingers lightly grazed my cheek, then he straightened up. Time to get to work, Mrs. Marcus. The first scene was an intimate scene. The director asked Marcus and me to portray the ambiguity and tension between lovers. Action. Marcus's gaze instantly changed. He looked at me with fervent, deep affection, his fingers gently stroking my face, slowly lowering his head. Just as his lips were about to touch mine, the set suddenly stirred. "Mr. Ethan! You can't come in. We're filming." Ethan ignored the staff's attempts to stop him and strode onto the set. His eyes were fixed on Marcus and me, who were almost pressed against each other. "Grace," his voice was hoarse, "we need to talk." The director called cut, and everyone looked at the three of us. The air was thick with gossip. I looked at Ethan coolly. "I'm working." "Just 5 minutes," Ethan pleaded. "Chloe said your retweet was out of jealousy." "I don't believe you're that kind of person." I almost laughed out loud. "Ethan, are you out of your mind? Me, jealous?" Marcus put his arm around my waist and said lazily, "Mr. Ethan, it's not appropriate to interrupt a couple's work, is it?" Ethan's face darkened. "Marcus, this is between Grace and me. She's my Mrs. Marcus now." Marcus tightened his arm around me. "Her business is my business." The set was silent, everyone holding their breath, watching the drama unfold. I sighed and told the director, "Give me 10 minutes to handle a personal matter." Then I pulled Marcus and Ethan into the lounge. As soon as the door closed, Ethan immediately spoke. "Grace, I know you're angry, but you can't marry Marcus out of spite. Don't you know what kind of person he is?" "Oh? What kind of person am I?" Marcus asked with interest. "A playboy. He changes women faster than he changes clothes." Ethan glared at him. "You don't deserve Grace at all." Marcus didn't get angry, instead, he laughed. "At least I wouldn't ditch my fiancé on our wedding day to go be with another woman." Ethan was speechless, then turned to me. "Grace, Chloe's pregnancy was an accident, but I have to take responsibility. Give me some time, after the baby is born." "Ethan," I cut him off. "We're over. I married Marcus not out of spite, but because I found out he's a million times better than you." Marcus raised an eyebrow, seemingly surprised by my words. "You don't love him at all," Ethan said agitatedly. "And do you love me?" I countered. "If you loved me, would you have left me on our wedding day to be with Chloe? Would you have been intimate with her in our bed? Would you expect me to raise your child?" Ethan was speechless. "There was never love between us, just a strategic alliance," I said calmly. "Now the alliance partner has changed, that's all." Ethan's face was livid. "You'll regret this." He slammed the door and stormed out, and the lounge finally fell silent. "Wow," Marcus whistled. "Should I thank Ethan's stupidity for letting me pick up a wife?" I rolled my eyes at him. "Don't get too smug. Our marriage is just an agreement." "Is that so?" Marcus suddenly moved closer, trapping me between him and the wall. "Then why was your heart beating so fast when you said I was a million times better than him? How did he know?" I tried to keep my composure. "Basic acting skill, that's all." Marcus chuckled, his finger gently lifting my chin. "Grace, do you know? When you lie, you're right." I twitches slightly. Before I could retort, his lips pressed down on mine. The kiss was sudden yet irresistible. Marcus's lips were warm and assertive, prying open my teeth and delving deep. I should have pushed him away, but inexplicably, I responded to the kiss. When we finally separated, breathless, a triumphant gleam sparkled in Marcus's eyes. "It seems your body is more honest than your mouth." I was mortified. "This is a film set. We should get back to work." Marcus released me with a laugh. "Yes, my best." Back on set, everyone looked at us with knowing glances. The director cleared his throat. "Shall we continue the scene from before? Action." Marcus approached me again, but this time his gaze was even more ardent, his fingers tracing my lips as he whispered, "This time, no interruptions." Then he kissed me. This kiss was even more lingering than the one in the lounge. I completely forgot I was acting, lost in his presence. "Cut. Perfect." The director exclaimed excitedly. "That's exactly the feeling." Marcus reluctantly pulled away from my lips, whispering in my ear, "Looks like we really look like a couple, Mrs. Marcus." I pushed him away, my face flushed, but I couldn't deny that this agreement marriage seemed to be heading in an uncontrollable direction. And what was worse, I found I wasn't opposed to the change. My phone vibrated while I was picking out clothes in Marcus's walk-in closet. Yes, a week after our agreement marriage, we moved in together. After all, it was for the media. Heartbeat variety show invitation? I read aloud the notice from my agent, then suddenly scoffed. "Chloe and I are on the guest list?" Marcus emerged from the bathroom wrapped in a bath towel, water droplets sliding down his abs. "Ethan orchestrated it." "How do you know?" I subconsciously glanced at his physique a few more times. He wiped his hair and handed me his tablet. The screen displayed Ethan's Twitter post from half an hour ago. Special preview. Will appear on Heartbeat with the most important person. Big announcement coming at Chloe. The comment section had already exploded. Is he going to make it official that he's a dad? Intentionally choosing a show Grace is on. That's cruel. That White Lotus has amazing tactics. Going? Marcus suddenly wrapped his arms around me from behind, resting his chin on my shoulder. If Marcus is afraid of being bullied. Afraid? I patted his face with my phone. I'm afraid I won't be able to control myself and will slap that despicable couple rotten on the spot. Marcus chuckled, nibbling my ear. I've got your back. His finger traced the notice. Coincidentally, they invited me too. I turned abruptly, my nose almost hitting his lips. When did you accept? Yesterday. A cunning glint sparkled in his eyes. Heard some despicable couple was going to bully my wife. Could I stand for that? My heart suddenly warmed, but I deliberately put on a straight face. Who's your real wife? The next second, my head spun as Marcus pressed me into the closet. The scent of wood mixed with shower gel enveloped me. Should we review our marriage certificate? His knee wedged between my legs, and my breathing instantly hitched. Marcus. Call me Marcus. His thumb stroked my collarbone, then he suddenly lowered his head and licked my earlobe. You'll have to call me that on the show too. I lifted my leg to kick him, but he caught my thigh beforehand. Where our skin touched, it felt like fire. Agree? His breath was scorching. Deal. The next day at the recording studio, Chloe deliberately walked out supporting her waist, wearing a loose white dress. Ethan escorted her throughout, as if she were a fragile item. The cameras immediately zoomed in for a close-up. The host exclaimed in an exaggerated manner, "Oh my. Do we have good news from our Chloe?" Chloe lowered her head, pursing her lips in a smile. Ethan quickly interjected, "Indeed, we have important news to announce today." His gaze swept over my position in the audience. "I hope everyone can bless us." The audience cheered, and the camera suddenly cut to me. On the big screen, I was sitting with my legs crossed, playing on my phone, not even looking up. "Ms. Grace, do you have anything to say?" The host instigated. I looked up with a light smile. "I wish the child grows up to look like their father." I paused. After all, Mr. Ethan's paternity test results are quite something. The entire audience erupted in an uproar. Ethan's face instantly turned ashen. His family's genetic medical history was an open secret in the industry. Chloe suddenly spoke. "Grace, I know you're hurting inside." She caressed her stomach, on the verge of tears. "But the child is innocent." "Of course, innocent." I smiled sweetly. After all, children shouldn't pay for their parents' sins. Muffled laughter rippled through the audience. Ethan abruptly stood up. "Grace, do you have to be so spiteful?" Before I could speak, the studio door suddenly opened. Marcus walked in wearing a deep V black shirt, a suggestive red mark still on his collarbone. I had bitten him there this morning. "Sorry I'm late." He walked straight to me and sat down, then publicly kissed my cheek. "My wife was too tired last night, so I let her sleep in a bit." The entire audience gasped. The big screen clearly showed Ethan's bulging veins on his forehead and Chloe's frozen smile. "Our first game is the love," the host excitedly announced. "Please step up to the answer area, all four of you." Marcus put his arm around my waist as we walked onto the stage. From behind came Chloe's soft voice, "Ethan, my back aches." I rolled my eyes, then Marcus suddenly pinched my butt. "Wife, focus on walking." "You." I glared at him, but he took the opportunity to peck my lips. The audience screamed, and a microphone dropping sound came from Ethan's side. The game rules were simple. Couples answer separately, and matching answers score points. First question, what's the female's favorite color? Marcus wrote starry blue without hesitation. The big screen simultaneously displayed my answer, perfectly matched. Ethan's side, however, ran into trouble. He wrote white, Chloe wrote pink. How could this be? Ethan frowned. "Chloe, all your clothes are white." Chloe looked aggrieved. "That was to match the pure image you like." The audience booed. Second question, first kiss locat. Ion? Marcus and I both wrote City Hall. He did kiss me at the entrance on our wedding day. Ethan's side was wrong again. He wrote hotel, Chloe wrote film set lounge. Chloe suddenly started crying. "Ethan, how could you even forget that? You clearly said you'd remember it forever that day." Ethan frantically wiped her tears, and I almost burst out laughing. Serves them right. Last question, if your partner were to cheat, how would you handle it? I wrote wish they were never born in flamboyant strokes. Marcus's board turned around, support all my wife's decisions. The audience roared with laughter. Ethan's face turned green as he wrote impossible to cheat, but Chloe wrote believe he'll return to the family. The atmosphere instantly became delicate. Next up is the chemistry. The host, not one to shy away from drama, announced, "Gentlemen, please be blindfolded and identify your wives by touch." Marcus was blindfolded and led in front of me. The moment he touched my fingertips, he smiled. His finger slid to the mole on the inside of my wrist. "I touch this every night." The audience's screams exploded. My face flushed instantly. That scoundrel really did hold me every night, even if it was just for show. Ethan stepped up confidently, but on touching the third female guest, he called out Chloe, only to take off the blindfold and find it was the female host. Chloe instantly broke down. "You can't even recognize me? You said my hand was the most special that night." Ethan was sweating profusely. "Let me explain." The recording paused for 10 minutes. When it resumed, Chloe's eyes were red, and Ethan's shirt was crumpled from her grabbing it. The final segment was truth or dare. Chloe drew the question, "What do you resent most about your partner?" She looked at me meaningfully. "I hate it most when people steal my things." She touched her stomach. "But now I have my ace up her sleeve." When it was my turn, I drew most proud moment. Marcus Sutta. NLY interjected, the moment she agreed to marry me. My heart skipped a beat, that wasn't in the script. But seeing Ethan's twisted face, I laughed and added, "and the moment I dumped the trash." As we were leaving after the recording, Chloe suddenly stopped me. "You think you won?" She lowered her voice. "Once I get best, let's see if Marcus still wants you, a has-been." Before I could retort, Marcus came up behind me and put his arm around me. "Wife, I just told the director that you'll be the female lead in the next movie." He glanced at Chloe. "As for the second female lead, the director said he's looking for someone with fresh appeal." Chloe's face turned white, that role was rumored to be hers. On the way back, Marcus suddenly became serious. "Chloe won't give up." I scoffed. "Afraid of her?" "Afraid you're soft-hearted," he pinched my chin. "For example." My phone suddenly rang. It was Ethan. I put it on speaker directly. "Spit it out." "Grace." Ethan's voice was hoarse. "I regret it." "Chloe, she's nothing like you." Marcus snatched the phone. "Mr. Ethan, my wife's collarbones are clearer than your life plan. Don't make a fool of yourself." Then he hung up. I collapsed into the seat laughing. "Marcus, he suddenly leaned over and kissed me. This kiss was fierce and urgent, and he didn't let go until I was breathless. "Grace," his eyes held an emotion I couldn't decipher. "First rule of our agreement marriage, no feeling for your ex." My heart suddenly raced out of control. I tried to keep my composure. "Who's feeling for an ex? Better not be." He rubbed his thumb across the corner of my mouth. "Because next, I'm going to start seriously pursuing my wife." The day the Lumina nominations were announced, Twitter exploded. The top trending online topic, #Grace vs. Chloe Best Actress Race #, was marked with "went viral." "Congratulations, Mrs. Marcus." Marcus wrapped his arms around me from behind, resting his chin on my shoulder. Our intertwined reflections showed on his phone screen. Third nomination. I frowned, staring at the list. "Why? Her art film only got 5.8 on Rotten." Marcus chuckled, his warm breath on the back of my ear. "Because she spent 3 nights with the jury." He pulled up paparazzi candid shots. Coincidentally, I happened to have proof. The photos showed Chloe sneaking into a hotel in a trench coat, and the second photo clearly showed Ethan playing games in the adjacent room that same night. I scoffed. "Does know he's been cheated on?" "He does now." Marcus opened WeChat and mass sent the photos to Ethan and various gossip blogs. My nomination gift. 10 minutes later, Ethan's call came in. I put it on speaker. "Grace." His voice sounded like a cat with its tail stepped on. "What did you mean by having Marcus post those photos?" Marcus snatched the phone. "Mr. Ethan, my wife is very busy." His fingers idly twirled my hair. "I suggest you first ask Ms. Chloe if the child in her belly is even yours." A heavy thud sounded from the other end of the line. I was stifling my laughter, my stomach aching. After hanging up, Marcus suddenly turned my shoulders. "The day of the awards ceremony, I prepared a surprise." "Oh?" His fingertip traced from my collarbone to my waist. "Wear that starry blue show-stopping gown." He paused. "I want everyone to know who the real best is." On the red carpet at the awards ceremony, Chloe deliberately accentuated her slightly bulging stomach to steal the spotlight. She wore a white lace dress that resembled a sheer and voluminous mosquito net walking around. "Grace," she stopped me, lightly stroking her abdomen. "Baby says he wants to see what a trophy looks like today." Before I could respond, Marcus suddenly put his arm around my waist. Funny, my wife's trophy cabinet happens to be missing alumina. He leaned down and whispered in my ear, "Tonight, I'll personally present your award to you, in bed." The flashlights immediately exploded. Chloe's face turned ashen, and she laked away. After taking their seats, I noticed Ethan was sitting next to Chloe. It seemed the photos of him being cheated on hadn't broken them up. And now, we reveal the best. The presenter intentionally dragged out the words, and the big screen cut to close-ups of Chloe and me. The winner is, the moment the envelope opened, Chloe was already halfway standing up. Grace! For glimmer in the night. The hall erupted in thunderous applause. I rose gracefully, but Chloe suddenly shrieked, "Impossible." She pointed at the judges' panel. "Chairman, you promised." She clapped a hand over her mouth, but it was too late. The scene descended into an uproar. The live chat instantly exploded. "OMG, she just exposed herself. Confirmed bribing the judges." The baby daddy's face went green, LOL. I walked onto the stage, holding up my skirt. The moment the trophy was in my hand, the big screen suddenly switched. A secretly filmed video of Chloe and Chairman backstage played on a loop, the images so explicit there wasn't even time to blur them. Ethan immediately left his seat. As chased after him, she tripped on her skirt, tripping and fell face first in front of the live cameras. During my acceptance speech, I raised the trophy. "Thank you to all those who speak with talent." I looked at Chloe, whose face was deathly pale in the audience. "And, thank you to certain people who paved the way for me with their bodies." Amidst the audience's uproarious laughter, Marcus suddenly rushed onto the stage and gave me a deep kiss in front of everyone. "Wife, let's go home and open your present." The live broadcast signal cut out at that exact moment, but the entire internet had already exploded. In the luxury car, Marcus pressed me into the seat and kissed me, the trophy digging painfully into my waist. "You orchestrated this?" I pushed him away, panting. He licked his lips and smiled. The video was an unexpected bonus. His fingers caressed the back of my neck. But that kiss, that was long planned. My heart skipped a beat. I quickly changed the subject. "Chloe is finished." "Not just her." Marcus pulled out his phone. "Just got word that Ethan took her to the hospital for a paternity test." I whistled. Drama of the year. The moment we opened the door at home, Marcus pressed me against the entryway. His eyes held an unfamiliar heat. "Grace, the agreement's expired." My heart tightened. So? He slowly unzipped my gown. "I want to repropose." The moment the velvet box opened, I froze. It wasn't a ring, but a key. "Willow Estate," his voice was husky. "The master bedroom has a wall specifically for your trophies." He paused. "And it's missing a husband next to them." My nose suddenly felt a little raw. "Marcus, are you serious?" He grabbed my hand and pressed it to his chest. "This is beating faster than when I won my first Best Award. What do you think?" Just as I was about to answer, the doorbell rang frantically. The surveillance screen showed Ethan, his face covered in blood, banging on the door. "Grace, are you happy now? Chloe had a miscarriage." Marcus scoffed and called security. Then he turned and saw me walking toward the door. "Soft-hearted?" He narrowed his eyes. I picked up the golf club from the entryway. "Time to finish the job." The moment the door opened, Ethan lunged at me. "It's all your fault." "Chloe, paternity test results are out?" I sneered, opening my phone. The screen clearly displayed the freshly released results, exclusion of biological fatherhood. Ethan looked as if he'd been struck by lightning. How did you?" Marcus gave it to me. I kicked away his hand as he tried to grab me. "And just so you know, Chloe wasn't just dating Chairman, there was also producer, director." I pulled up photos. "Oh, and she didn't even spare your assistant." Ethan collapsed onto the floor, then suddenly grabbed the hem of my skirt. "Grace, I was wrong, let's start over." "Get lost." Marcus kicked him away. "I've already ordered my wife's wedding dress." As was dragged away by security, he kept yelling, "Grace, you don't understand what love is at all." Closing the door, Marcus suddenly knelt on one knee. "Ms. Grace, are you willing to upgrade our agreement marriage to a lifelong contract?" I leaned down and pinched his chin. "Let's see how you perform." He suddenly hoisted me onto his shoulder and carried me toward the master bedroom. Time for the boss to inspect the work. My starry blue gown drifted to the floor, tangled with his suit jacket. Moonlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling window, illuminating the two trophies sitting side by side on the bedside table, his actor award, my best award. I was lying on Marcus's lap, eating grapes, when I scrolled past news of Ethan selling insurance in Fairview. Pfft, a grapeseed flew directly onto Marcus's custom suit pants. Mrs. Marcus. He leisurely wiped his pants with a tissue, his other hand still gently pinching the back of my neck. What's making you so happy? I held up my phone for him to see. On the screen, Ethan, dressed in a wrinkled, cheap suit, was handing out flyers on the street, being scolded by an elderly woman pointing her finger at his nose. You bad luck charm whose wife ran off with someone, don't bring your misfortune my way. Tisk, Marcus leaned down and bit the grape from my fingertips. That's it? I thought you saw the pic I posted last night. I kicked him playfully. When did you post an pic? He caught my ankle, his thumb lightly stroking the sole of my foot. Now? My phone suddenly vibrated. It was a message from my agent. Chloe's live stream went sideways. Want to watch the show? I immediately clicked the link. Chloe's live stream chat was an absolute frenzy. Whose baby is it, anyway? Heard you slept with judges for resources? Does know how many times you've cheated on him? On screen, Chloe forced a smile. Babies, today I'm recommending this face mask. I directly sent a live cha. Key message, baby? Didn't your baby miscarry? The live stream instantly exploded. Chloe's expression was as if she'd been stabbed in the chest. She violently dropped the product and shrieked at the camera, Grace. Was that you? I almost rolled off Marcus's lap, laughing. So happy? Marcus took my phone, leaned over, and pinned me to the sofa. Then shouldn't Mrs. Marcus reward me? I hooked his tie. What kind of reward do you want? He whispered something in my ear, and my ears immediately turned red. Later, I saw Chloe promoting a sketchy online brand on a large shopping mall screen. She was wearing a cheap sequin dress, her smile so stiff it looked like a mask. Just as I was about to take a photo to send to Marcus, I suddenly heard a scream behind me, Ethan. I abruptly turned my head, seeing Chloe, in her 4-inch high heels, rush over and slap Ethan across the face. It's all your fault. If you weren't so incompetent, I wouldn't have ended up like this. Ethan grabbed her wrist. Bitch! How dare you blame me? The two began brawling in the street. Half of Chloe's wig was torn off, and 2 buttons flew off Ethan's shirt. Passers-by filmed frantically with their phones, and some even started a live stream. I slowly walked over, settling into the best spot to watch the show. Ethan suddenly saw me, his expression as if he'd been struck by lightning. Gr. Grace? Chloe also whirled around, her makeup smeared, making her look like a ghost. I smiled, raising my phone. Go on, I'll help you get it trending. That night, #former couple brawling in the street became a top trending topic. I snuggled into Marcus's arms, scrolling through comments, shaking with laughter. That happy? Marcus cupped my chin, turning my face to kiss me. Want to be even happier? He pulled out his phone to show me the latest news. Ethan was fired from the insurance company because Chloe reported him for embezzling client premiums to try and make a comeback. Serves them right, I said, wrapping my arms around his neck. But, compared to seeing them get what they deserve, I leaned close to his ear. I'd much rather watch you. Before I could finish, he pressed me into the sofa. Some people torment each other, while some loves burn for a decade and still yearn for more. Thanks for tuning in to today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section, so feel free to share your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.